Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and we're back with more Octopath Traveler 2 chill music. And the moment you've all been waiting for, we are going to create our updated Octopath Traveler 2 tier list. Now, I have beaten the game. I have done everything besides the super boss at the end of the game, which I have gotten nearly to the end, but I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm planning on doing that the next day or two, hopefully on stream. So I have quite a bit of experience in the game. However, before we get into it, of course, this list is subjective and based off my subjective experience. But we are just doing it for fun. And so we're going to jump into it. And if you disagree with me, it's probably just because you're dumb and don't know how to play RPGs. Get a job. So let's go ahead and start this here. We are going to just do it in the order they presented here. And they might move around as we go because the tiers are relative to each other. And I don't think we're going to use any of these low ones even. I think D is a little extreme for any of the 8 characters. But step 1, Temenos, strong A tier. I think Temenos is a strong A tier. His cleric is very powerful already as a class, has a wonderful divine skill, has just good skills in general throughout the early, mid, and then into the late game, the divine skill is one of the best. Besides that, they also have the he also has specifically his big heal, his overheal, so you could heal things over max HP. It's a little cute. It's not really that good. You could usually out damage things where you don't need to do that, but it is something that could definitely be good if you're struggling on damage. But his other skill, the one that I said was shit and then changed my mind, but no one finished the video, his big spirit bomb light attack, where it just consumes a bunch of SP and hits really hard. It synergizes with the advanced magic, so you could hit up to 3 times. And I still think it's really hard to hit damage cap with that. I mean, I've done everything, keeping him at 1 HP, this, that, or the other thing. It seems pretty rough to me to actually get him to hit damage cap, but he hits very hard. He hits in the 40, 50, 60, 70,000 range, depending on buffs, debuffs, and if they're broken or not. So very, very powerful attack. Not to mention it is on a cleric. It does take all of his SP, so you have to do that's kind of like your build around move. If you're doing that, you're having a bunch of characters support that spirit bomb, but that's kind of the nature of the spirit bomb. So I think Temenos is an easy A, and not the movie. Oswald, I think he's B tier. I think he's worse than Temenos. His I mean, Scholar's decent. That's why he's kind of good. His latent power does make damage go up, but I don't know, man. It just feels like I have a slightly different perspective now that I'm in the final boss fight, because you have to have 2 teams of 4. And when you need to have 2 teams of 4, he is one of the better damage dealers. But if you only need 1 team of 4, I'm like, why would I ever use him over Hikari? But he is in the game, and if you need 2 teams of 4, he's might be your best damage dealer on your second team of 4. So I think he might be necessary, but not crazy good. His latent power is not that good. Teach is fucking dog shit. However, the true magic is pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's like nuts, but it is pretty good. It's more powerful than the normal spells. But I'm not really in love with it. Overall, I think Oswald's a bit of a weaker character, but he is one of the better damage dealers. Maybe the second or third best damage dealer. Might be Hikari's #1 damage dealer, and Throne might be #2 in my opinion. I'm sure Ochek could do some good stuff as well, but she's got so many better things to do with her. She's not primarily a damage dealer, even though you could do that. Anyway, Particio, welcome to the S tier, buddy. Particio, I think I keep changing my mind. I do think that there's enough characters that are insanely strong that deserve S tier, that but I think Particio might be the strongest character in the game. Negotiate schedule really is that powerful. Combined with his latent power, like, I know you can get a lot of BP in other ways, but he doesn't have to spend a turn. He gets to use the BP right away. So he could, like, you could do so many sick combos, right? You could instantly give someone else an apothecary divine skill, so their spells hit everybody. You could instantly give someone the Agnia passive, but for 3 turns. You could instantly give someone the cleric skill, so they get an extra turn every turn. So it's just like, it's so flexible and powerful. Negotiate schedule might be one of the most powerful abilities in the game. You just spend money and you win. um and it, like the other one here, what's his other ability? There's negotiate schedule, and then there's share SP. Share SP is not bad. It's okay. It says single target, but it always hits AoE for me. I don't know if it's just like a mistranslation, but it also can overheal SP, so it's better than it looks. It's an ability that I never use, but it can overheal, and it seems to hit the whole party. I don't think I had Seal of Diffusion on. Maybe I did, but I don't think so. Overall, Merchant's powerful, and his unique skills are incredibly powerful. I really thought the ability to get BP wouldn't be that strong, but I underestimated how... I didn't know when I originally said that divine skills required 3 BP to use. I just forgot that from Octopath 1. So definitely an S tier character in my opinion. Easily one of, if not the best. Throne? I don't... this is tough for me. I think she's probably B tier. She might be able to go up. The thing is, like, I find her really powerful. Yeah, Aber's Reckoning is really good to get a strong hit in. But she doesn't do that necessarily better than anyone else. Where she really is good is that her latent power will allow her to do a lot of flexible things. Like, if you're willing to use a lot of resources, she makes a fucking wonderful apothecary where you could have her set up, like, you know, you have someone give her BP or whatever, and then you have her use her latent power, apothecary divine skill herself, and then just use revitalizing jam, give everyone full HP, full SP, full BP, full latent gauge with one item, and she can do that every single turn while you have items. But that's not something you could do consistently over a long period of time. That's not what you're normally doing in fights, but that is an insanely powerful ability. Like, it's mostly just that the it's more so that the apothecary buff is incredibly powerful, but she allows herself to do the apothecary buff on herself and then start using items to keep everyone dealing a ton of damage. So she's got a lot of flexibility. The only thing holding her back, I think, is that she's a thief, and thief is kind of dog shit. So she needs something else to go with her that's really good. So you kind of got to work against the thief. I mean, Aber's Reckoning's fine, but I'm not super impressed with her stuff outside of that, if I'm being honest. So her latent powers have become easier to use multiple times in combat as the game has gone on, and she has a very powerful latent power. So I think she can go up to A tier. I think I'm underestimating here. Her latent power is very good. Hikari, welcome to the S tier, buddy. Just your best damage dealer in the game. He hits really, really, really hard with a lot of really powerful, unique, incredibly good skills. The challenge mechanic, where you get your own skills, means no other physical damage dealer has access to the same level of skills he has, and the skills he can get are insane and very powerful and also cool. His latent power isn't like insane. It's pretty good early on, and it's pretty good in the mid game, and it's even decent in the late game, but I think it's decent. It's always good, but I think you get like better, you get accesses to better shit, you know? I think there's just better things out there for him to be doing than using his latent power, but that's good. It's because his passive is so strong. You got to find the skills, but once you have them, they're very, very powerful. And he has just like so many cool, weird builds, right? Because he can go a shaman. Then when he's a shaman, he could do elemental reflect on everybody. He could do the counterattack on everybody. Also, Seal of Diffusion works with unique abilities that he could find. If there's like there's like something called divine protection or something where it's like it's like a target him ability, and that will synergize, and you could do that with everything. So he's just kind of a broken character, incredibly powerful. I'm not sure if he's better than Partitio. He's definitely a better damage dealer, but Partitio has negotiate schedule, which I think is incredibly powerful. Agnia, this one might change based on where we're putting it here, but Agnia I think is going down to B. Now, I had originally said that she might be the most powerful character in the game, and I do think she is incredibly powerful and incredibly useful and great as an inventor. The thing is, her latent power, one, Dancer sucks almost always, not literally always. The Dancer divine skill is pretty good, but outside of the Dancer divine skill and maybe a Lion Dance, which is easily replaced by items or other abilities, I think the Dancer is terrible, so that really sucks. Now, her divine skill is really good, or I mean, her latent power is really good, but like I said, it becomes easier to use divine skills the later you get into the game. You just have things like the tin horn. You have just items that let you do it. So yeah, you have to spend a turn, but you could use like the divine skill of the dancer to get like triple her effects. So you could use it every turn and on other characters. So it's not hard to get her latent skill on other characters. Especially if you're running her, because then you don't have to have anyone be a dancer as their secondary. But so I think the thing that made her really, really powerful and insanely good is just like a little replaceable the later you get into the game. I think it's like an irreplaceably strong character in the early game, the mid game. But as you approach the late game, I think she kind of starts to drop down a lot, which is surprising to me because she's been in my party almost the entire game, but I'm not in love with what she does anymore. I think Particio could do what she does, maybe not quite as good, but she could also do a lot of other things where she's kind of stuck in her role. Chet. Oh, Chet, you are, I think you're low A tier. Let me think about this for a second. I'm going to put her in high B. I think she's the best B tier character. And this might upset some people. I think she's got an incredible amount of flexibility and support. And I do think that there's situations where she's really good, but she's kind of like not a great damage dealer. You could do good damage with her, but it's not insane. Her support abilities in terms of what she can capture are really good, but they're mostly, from what I've seen, ways to break shields in different ways. And it's like really, there's really good stuff there, but I don't know. Maybe she's just got so much flexibility and she could do so many things. She can do physical. She can have all that capture stuff. Her capture damage really isn't all there, but then she has like the Kates she could summon, which is pretty powerful. I think she might just be an A tier then. Yeah. I think A makes more sense. She is a very strong character. I just don't think she brings anything irreplaceable, you know? Like, yeah, the capture thing is literally irreplaceable, but I don't feel like the outcomes of that are that incredibly powerful. I feel like it's good, but I feel like you can kind of accomplish the same thing. But her strength is that she has all of it in one package. And it's good. It's good. I like her latent power. Her latent power AoE to break one shield is whatever, but it also lowers their physical and elemental defense. And that's actually harder to come by than I thought it would be. Unless you have specific skills. So the ability to do an AoE, I have found really useful on some of these later boss fights to reduce all of their physical and magical defense, so I can actually get in some damage without having to spend a turn to debuff them, because it also gets rid of the shield and it lasts for multiple turns. You can make it last like 6 turns, so pretty darn good. I actually like that latent power a lot. Her other two do decent damage as well, so she could be a good damage dealer. She's just not the best, but I think A tier is reasonable. Casty, welcome to the S. Casty is kind of irreplaceable because she has Concoct. No one else can easily give 4 BP to the entire party every turn. The only alternative to Casty is to have an apothecary use the blessing so items affect everybody, and even then you have a more powerful Concoct, because you'll heal full BP, full SP, full latent, and full HP, whatever, you know, all 4 of the resources every turn, but you have to recast that every 3 turns. So she just has it on Concoct every turn. She could give 4 BP and heal, or 4 BP and give SP, or 4 BP and heal all status ailments, or 4, you know, so usually you're doing 4 BP. The very first turn, she has 2 charge, right? Or, you know, you have 2 BP if you have BP boost, so you do boost times 3, you know, you do boost, and then you could do 4 total things, which is 2 BP, you know, BP1, strengthen, AoE. So that's kind of the 4 you're going to do. And so when you get that final BP, then you have access to do a bunch of other things. And she could just heal as well. The thing is, even though the apothecary divine skill is better than Concoct overall, she's an apothecary, so she has that too. And she also gives herself the BP. So after she gives the whole team BP, she can also give herself the apothecary skill. Now, I kind of still prefer apothecary on like Throne. I've been really enjoying that, but the apothecary thing is very resource heavy, very, very, very resource heavy if you're going to use these. This is something you use in the late game when you finally have a stock of like insanely powerful items. Now that I'm on the final boss, I'm like, all right, well, if you don't use it, what's the point of it? So I'm using them now. But she just has that crazy amount of flexibility. BP is incredibly powerful. It's gonna be what wins you most fights. It's the difference between killing stuff in one attack or killing things in 4 attacks. And in 4 attacks means maybe they got a couple extra turns and now maybe you die and things start going bad. She's just absolutely insane. I'm not sure if she is these are the characters that I'm a little torn upon being the best. I'm not quite sure the order here. I actually think this order here is pretty reasonable. I think Throne is probably better. I think I just like Temenos more, and I've had more fun playing him. I think Throne is probably more easy to break. Temenos doesn't really break the game. He just is very powerful, but he's kind of one note. And I think these characters are a little bit weaker down here. And Achet, she has a glitch that makes her like S+ tier. Like you could use like basically have a free casty every single turn with 0 resources if you're using the glitch, which I have a video on. But outside of the glitch, I think she's probably just kind of in the A tier. And then Negotiate Schedule might be the most powerful ability in the game, but Concoct might be the most powerful ability in the game. But both their abilities are irrelevant if you don't kill things. So I'm kind of torn between these 3. I'm not sure which one's the best. I think even though Hikari's the best damage dealer, you could potentially do really, really good damage with any character, whereas Concoct can never leave this character, and Negotiate Schedule can never leave this character. You're going to get way more value out of Concoct over the course of a playthrough with her latent power. Negotiate Schedule you're going to use very rarely, but it pretty much breaks any boss fight you ever want it to go. But I'm going to put Casti, Particio, and then Hikari. Anyway, that is my official tier list. I know I should have zoomed this in more. Here, let me, it's never too late, all right? It's never too late. There we go. Look at that. Well, imagine if I did the whole video like that. Man, that would have been very professional, but we didn't. So that is going to be it for today. Much love. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. Go ahead and let me know how you would have made the tier list, because I want to see exactly what you guys think and why I'm wrong, why you're right. And that's going to be it. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.